You all brought 4 different versions of the same dish. It's
Coco, yep.
Okay, this dish, and you're gonna try each other's dish, and you're gonna rate it out of 10, and we'll see which one is the best.
I'm Rithi.
Hey, I'm Nick.
I'm Mary.
Hey, I'm Robert.
I was born in Cambodia, Phnom Penh.
So I was actually born in Dallas, Texas, born and raised.
I was born in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, but raised in Boston, Massachusetts.
I was born and raised in a Seattle suburb called Renton.
I've only ever had this dish made by my mom. I've never had it anywhere else. Her recipe is not like very traditional. She kind of have her own thing that's kind of passed on generation, and I think that might be a little bit different than like traditional ones. So it's really, really cool to see it made by someone else and see how it tastes like.
I've eaten it a bunch, growing up. It was definitely interesting bringing it together, so hopefully you guys enjoy it, but I'm more curious to see how you guys approached it.
I'm actually very curious and excited to see how everyone approached it. So this is my take on kako. Normally this is eaten with rice noodles, rice, or bread. And because of bread, instead of just using baguette, I decided to make a kako pizza. So I made this from scratch. So this dough is a 48-hour cold ferment dough, very high hydration. That's how you get the nice puffy crust. Even got the char on the bottom. Kind of inspired by the Mexican birria pizza. I've made the birria pizza a few times as well, and it kind of reminded me of the Vietnamese bò, which is why I got inspired to make this version. The ingredients are quite similar between this kind of beef stew and the Mexican birria. Herbs and aromatics are a little bit different, using traditional Khmer herbs like galangal, makrut lime leaves, lemongrass. They actually do use the New Mexico chili as well. There's meat in here, flank. There's also tripe. And there's also tendon. There's also carrots in here to give that sweetness. Thinly sliced onions and cilantro and basil really brightens up this dish since it's a pretty strongly flavored dish. I don't know if it's accurate, but I hope it's accurate.
This is exciting.
It looks good. The color looks really nice.
I guess you're supposed to dip it.
Really very good. I think it should be a little bit more sweeter.
I can taste the cinnamon. Star anise comes through. It's very tasty.
It's like a really interesting flavor. I love I don't know the name for it, so I'm gonna call it a pizza bread.
Did he make the pizza though?
He made it from scratch.
Good Lord.
Coco pizza. I don't know if he explained it. This is crazy. He literally took this and put it on a pizza. Impressive. Very oily though. I guess it's supposed to be like that.
I can tell he put a lot of thought into it.
The meat's very tender, that's good. She might have another piece. It actually does taste like Coco, which is actually really interesting.
Yeah, overall this was really good. I'll give this like a 7 out of 10. Very solid dish.
Coco is supposed to be more like thicker and sweeter, but this is almost like a stew. 8 out of 10 because of the pizza. Like, this is so creative to be able to just take these, the Coco, and put it on a pizza.
Overall, it's like a really good dish. He can get a 9 then.
Just like that little aftertaste at the end, which I think is a star anise, like comes through a little bit too much. I don't feel like it should be there. One of my favorite dishes to eat is pho, and I make it all the time. So I started off making it like a pho. So I did my own like beef stock, roasted the bones, got that ready for it. So I just caramelized a bunch of sugar, added the aromatics, ginger, the star anise, got that coated, added some marinated beef. What my mom told me is you use tomato paste and tomatoes, and you cook it for so long that the tomatoes basically evaporate, and that's where you kind of get like the red color. Let it cook and simmer, and then there's also some carrots in there. It's very hearty. It's kind of chilly out right now. You could have it with vermicelli noodles, but we're serving it here with just a baguette. I'll leave it to everyone else to judge and see how they do it.
Yeah, this definitely looks like kako.
The garnish make it look like a cathedral already. All right, let's see.
It's pretty good, pretty tasty. A bit more sour than I expected from tomato, I assume, which is also a problem mine had.
I like the flavor a lot.
To make it a little bit dry.
You skimmed a lot of the fat off the top. I do like a little bit of the oil for the red color.
It's much sweeter than the last one, which is what I like and what I think the dish is typically supposed to taste like.
The real test is, how does it go with bread? It has the sweetness, still have like a flavorful to it. The garnish, kind of maybe like a deal, but it's okay. It's still very good.
I do prefer it a little bit thicker if it's gonna be dipped with bread. This is pretty watery.
I like this one a little bit better than the last one.
The meat is tender. It doesn't have much flavor, but the texture is pretty good.
I will have to give it a 9 out of 10. This is actually very close to authentic.
So I know I gave the last one a 9 because of the pizza, but flavor-wise, I'm gonna go back and give the other one a 7 and this one an 8 instead.
I do prefer a much richer flavor and thicker broth. 5 out of 10. It is a bit too sour.
Very, very good. This is Coco. I try to make it as authentic as possible to my mom's recipe. Throughout my childhood, I eat this a lot. You slowly start with a bone broth to just kind of get like that stock. And then with the tomato, kind of cook it over a long period of time. And that's what gives it the red color. Potato, onion, carrot, oxtail for like the broth stock. Cocoa is supposed to be very sweet, so there's a lot of sugar. I only make this over like 2 hours as opposed to like 6. I think I got the textures right, which is supposed to be very thick, especially when you eat it with bread, as opposed to more watery type where you would eat it with vermicelli or rice.
Ooh, this looks stewy.
It looks like another kako. Would like to see more green on top or onions as well. There's a lot of solids in here rather than soup.
Chef likes it thick.
The meat doesn't really have much flavor. It's a strong taste of carrots and onions.
It's very like watery and not as much flavor.
It's really light, so it's nice. Now this to me feels more like the Vietnamese version of it. It's really good broth though, I like it.
Definitely more on the sweeter side rather than sour. I think more incorporation of fattier cuts of meat would help as well. It is pretty lean in terms of, it's not greasy.
It's just lacking flavor, but overall like the texture of like the vegetables and the meat is okay. It's not like great. I'm gonna give it like a 5.
I'm like just really enjoying it actually. I'm gonna give it an 8. All the components are really good. Potatoes, carrots, beef, really good. Very dippable, good broth, light.
It's missing that boldness. I would like more depth and boldness. 4 out of 10. It's a little weak in terms of flavor.
My dish is very special. It is like a concoction of curries. I flew in last night from LA and I didn't have like the resources to make the dish, so I tried to find like the closest dish that I could. So I like ordered like a masawan curry and it ended up being like green. Chris had red curry for lunch, so I tossed some red curry in there with it as well, just so I could get somewhat of like a similar color to the other dishes. So the only option that they had on the menu was chicken or shrimp. So I got chicken, but I may just like toss in one of their pieces of beef in there just to like throw them off guard.
I think one of the guys left their dishes over there.
Yeah, they would know.
Go for it, go.
Yeah, so hopefully it's good. I have no clue what it tastes like.
It's nice and creamy looking.
This is interesting.
This is like a curry.
What special ingredient did she add to this one?
Color's different, but it's got the thickness, the consistency.
This is not kako, but it does smell good.
Okay, this is very different.
Beef is kind of lacking. It's a little dry.
It's very sweet.
It's sweet like cocoa, but coconutty?
It's so creamy. I don't think I've had this before.
It tastes more like Thai food. Well, I think it is Thai food.
Guys, I think we've been bamboozled. This isn't cocoa, but they tried their best.
It's good, but if I have to say this is not authentic cocoa, maybe it's a family recipe, I don't know. I give it a 6 out of 10. It's just for the good dish.
Given the circumstances, 6. Been really nice.
It's not the assignment, so I can only give it like a 1 out of 10. As a soup or curry, it's pretty good, but it's not kako.
This does not take me back to my childhood.
Well done, everyone. So I'm just gonna read off the scores. So in last place with an average score of 4.3, we have Mary. In almost last place, we have an average score of 5.7, and that is RITHY. We actually have a tie for first place with an average score of 7.3 for both dishes. It is, well, Nick and Robert, yeah, tie, so.
Oh man, I mean, not gonna act like I don't want to win, but I'm very happy with the result, especially going into competition unsure of what the hell it's supposed to taste like, so.
I'm just happy mine did well and it was accepted.
Cup half full across the board, so.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I felt like I had to bring all my skills here with the pizza and everything.